Hey, yo!
So for the past few days, we've actually seen Spiral Abyss come back, and on top of that, we've actually seen Shop Reset as well. But I mainly just want to talk about Spiral Abyss right now, as this is my topic of the video, and I also just want to talk about how this helps you guys, so there's not really anything else. There's also one thing that I want to point out is that this Spiral Abyss is actually one of the easiest ones, so I wouldn't actually see a lot of you messing up on it, but I'm going to help the people that are. This really depends on what team you're building, so I don't really want to make this into a big thing, and I'm just gonna get straight into the video. But like always, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, or even comment anything that I get wrong in this video, or maybe even other things that you guys can suggest me in the future videos, or just absolutely say something bad to me. I'm me. So starting this off, I really just want to talk about what teams I've been using, and just what works overall. There's this team that I actually play that just obliterates everything in the Abyss, and that's actually Ito's team with Farina. First of all, this is just absolutely crazy because not only does Ito smash everything, but Farina gives him a buff, and it's just all over the place as Ito will actually gain max numbers up to 100, maybe even 150k numbers, which is just absolutely insane. And Geo is actually suggested for this one Abyss, so if you guys really want to try out Geo characters, I don't mainly just pay attention to Ito's team, but you can also try out Navia as well. But from my point of view right now, I really just want to talk about what this team includes. So obviously it includes Ito, and then it includes Goru, which is probably his side partner right now. I mean, there's nothing you can go wrong by adding Goru on the side. This guy just increases your crit damage, and on top of that, he actually heals on C4, which sadly I don't have. And C6 just gives you a way more crit damage buff. And then finally, my last character that I actually use for this team is Jean. She's just the best provider for Farina when it comes to just stacking the damage. And plus, she just heals the whole team in general, so there's not really any consequences you're gaining from just putting Farina on the team. I do like to note that Bennett and Jean are actually the same exact thing, but I just prefer Jean if you want to get the fanfare stacks better, and if you just want to savor more time with the ult. Moving on to a separate team that I actually use Neuvillette, which is probably one of the most broken units in this game when it comes to Hydro, and he's also been the meta since the release, so there's not really anything you can go wrong with this team. I mean, also a lot of people don't have him as they also missed him for Farina, or they both actually don't have them. The other character that I actually use with Neuvillette is Kazuha. I mean, he's literally been there since the start of his team comp, and he's actually my boy.
Hey, yo!
But seriously, the third teammate that I actually use is Bennett. This actually just depends if you don't want to use Farina with him, because like I said again, I used it on Ito. And then the last and final one that I use is actually Yaimiko. This really just makes my team a taser team, and there's actually just a bunch of stuff that goes on with it, and I'll show you guys later in the video. Actually, what I'll do instead is show you a very normal Ito team comp, so you don't have to go through this mixture stuff, and you could just use it on other teammates. This team I'm about to show instead is obviously Ito, Goru, Bennett, and maybe even Noelle. And then the second team that I'll actually showcase instead is Neuvillette, Farina, Kazuha, and Jean. This team comp was actually a very old team comp that I used on the first video of this channel, and it was actually a way to beat the previous Abyss, which a lot of people struggled on, so I really am glad that I did that. And I'm just gonna say there's nothing wrong to use this again, as there are no cons for the Spiral Abyss against them, and you can actually use it for various parts, which I'll explain what, with the included Ito team. Before I actually start demonstrating these, I really just want to say that this Ito is busted. I mean, not everyone will actually have a busted Ito. Who the hell is this? As I was saying, hopefully that does not happen again, is that these stats are just absolutely OP, and not everyone will actually have them, as I will just point out one more thing, is that not everyone actually rolls on the weapon banner. I just decided to be such a stupid idiot when rolling for this, but I still managed to get his weapon, so I'm not really gonna go wrong with it. Oh yeah, and one more thing just to add on to that is Serpent Spine actually goes with it as much as Redhorn does, so there's not really any difference between them, other than just one of them is just better than the other, as it literally is the signature weapon. So finally, moving on to the Abyss, I really just want to point out that I only do floor 12, as that is the most challenging one, and the others are just useless as people pass them but they don't have difficulty in them. So obviously what I said earlier, I am going to use Ito, Goru, Bennett, and maybe even Noelle. This is actually going to be placed on the first team, and I'll show you how to use them. I mean, a lot of people know how to use Ito, so I don't really need to give a demonstration. But this is just for purpose's sake, so this is not really just for the team, but for the element itself. And then the second team that I said I would use instead is Neuvillette, Furina, Kazuha, and maybe even Jean. These two teams right here actually pair up together, but I'm really only basing this off of this Spiral Abyss, so it does not always work in general. Enough of the talk, I really just want to talk about some strategies as well on how to beat them with lower times, and what this team just really does. So starting off with Ito's team, if you are trying this team out and you're using Noelle, I do not suggest using her ult as it's pretty much useless and it will just waste your time in general. But I'll just use her skill just to maintain it, and I'll show you guys right now. So starting off, you actually want to use Goru EQ, and then you would actually use Bennett ult with Noelle E, and then you could just spam Ito's ult with his Ushi, and then you could literally just keep slashing away as you'll also get more stacks from it, but you'll just do massive amount of charge attack damage, and it'll just absolutely obliterate this guy. Like, you can actually see almost half of his HP is gone, but you actually have to maintain Ito's energy as well, so that's also a really big problem. But at the end, you'll actually get this guy at a really good time frame. As you can see, I'm about to do it again. You would actually use Goru E, and then Goru ult, Bennett ult, Noelle E, and then Ito EQ, but apparently the guy spawned this thing, so you'd only actually have to pay attention to that, which, okay, I'm getting... Oh god, okay, yep, I'm not... Now, moving on to Neuvillette's team, I mean, a bunch of you guys already know how this team works, and I don't really need to say anything else other than just it's absolutely broken. But instead, I'll actually show you guys a chamber that this guy can just absolutely obliterate, and just for you guys to mainly point out if you have him and you're just struggling on the stage. So first off, I'm actually going to demonstrate this guy. This guy literally just teleports everywhere, and none of you guys actually like him. But first of all, you'd actually activate Furina's E and then her ult immediately. Then you would actually do Jean. Make sure you also do this the same with Kazuha EQ, so you guys can actually swirl Hydro, and then you would actually use Neuvillette EQ, and then you could just absolutely obliterate this guy, and try not moving close to him as this guy literally just swings his big flappy freaking wings against you. But just make sure to grab all the particles, move away from that, and then you should just be all fine. One other thing that I just want to point out is that, have you guys realized that I've taken out half of the HP of both bosses in just one ult round? Ah, there we go. Oh, look at that. That's some very good stars. Please trust me. I got 3 stars. The last thing I actually want to cover up for this abyss is floor 12, chamber 3. This is actually a point of the abyss that's hard to face, and overall just a very good demonstration of it. So starting off, it's obviously going to be against this Hydro Tulpa. This guy, you really just have to mainly pay attention to how fast you can kill him. I mean, there's actually nothing else you have to do other than just spam everything. This guy actually has some shield things going on when it comes to those little guys around him, but just make sure you're just using everything against this guy, as you really don't need to pay attention to what he does, because he really doesn't do a lot, and all you really need to do is just go all in. As you can see, literally half of his HP is gone. Well, basically half, okay, basically. But you get my point here. As you could literally see, he does absolutely nothing, and he really just pays attention to range rather than damage. Here, I'll demonstrate it one more time. As you can see, I'm using everything that my teammate has to offer, and then I just use Ito at the end, and then I just keep going all up on this guy. So there's nothing really to pay attention other than just going in. I really hope I actually helped you guys with this one, because the last one was not really demonstrative, but I really just wanted to demonstrate it here so I can give just a perfect understanding and for just simplified use. Lastly, I really just want to talk about a few changes that has happened with characters, and this actually goes on to the topic of Cloud Retainer. Apparently, she actually got a very big nerf, and it really just goes on to her crowd control. Some gameplays actually showed that she can crowd control, but from the further updates that has happened so far, we've actually hit a point where she's nerfed, and that CC will just never happen again. I really hope I don't make this a long video, as I did just shorten that small bit into sections, but to end the main idea off, this video really just talks about Spiral Abyss and just the help of use with it, so I don't really want to talk more. And again, for the 17th billion time, actually the first time, because the moon is hiding away from me. Why is it doing that? Obviously, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, or even comment anything on this video. I'll for sure listen as fast and as neatly as possible. And if you guys have other suggestions, I will also take that to note. And that's pretty much it. Sxyrax out. Bye-bye.